From an early age, you realized that something within your story didn't make sense. While those around you conformed to the same patterns, the same conflicts and repetitions, something inside you questioned all of this. It wasn't rebellion or drama. It was your spirit asking for something different, a change. You weren't made to repeat what has always been done. When God looked at you, He didn't see someone destined to be just another part of the cycle. He saw someone with the ability to interrupt what no longer brought life. Someone with the strength necessary to do things differently, even if no one around you understood. You were chosen for this mission. The discomfort you felt is not a mistake or a weakness. It is the key to your true mission. Your discomfort is an indication that you have been called to something greater. Even when no one supported you, you felt within you that the repetition of mistakes had to stop, and it was then that God set you apart. Today more than ever, you understand that your journey is not just personal. Your freedom is not just for you, but for your entire lineage. You have the strength to break cycles, to change your family's story. What began in you has the power to impact those around you. Now, the time has come to act. God has already prepared you, and now the responsibility is yours. It's no longer about waiting, but about acting with courage, making the decision to change the course of your story and the story of those who come after you. If you want to follow this journey of transformation, subscribe to the channel. Here, you will find the content that will help you take the next step. From a very young age, you realized that you did not fit into the norms around you. While everyone else followed a routine without question, you felt something different. Harsh words, jokes that hurt, destructive behaviors that were considered normal. All of this deeply bothered you. It was as if something inside you was saying, "This is not right." The hardest part was that no one else saw it the same way. They went through everything without noticing the pain behind it, and you, more sensitive, couldn't adapt. But this discomfort was not a weakness. It was not something to be ignored or suppressed. It was the voice of God telling you that you were not made to follow the same path. What seemed to be just a personal discomfort was, in fact, a clear sign. It was the revelation of your calling. Because those who feel the pain of repetition, those who see what others do not, have within themselves the necessary strength to change the course. That constant feeling of dissatisfaction was the Spirit guiding you, warning you that something needed to be interrupted. You realized that what was normal for others did not make sense to you. Behaviors and attitudes that others accepted as part of life were for you a scream. Something inside you rebelled against this cycle. But the hardest part was that even knowing this, no one around you seemed to notice. You were alone in this understanding. There was a great weight in carrying this understanding alone. It felt like it was you against the world. When the repeated decisions always led to the same place, when you saw the lack of transformation around you, everything seemed pointless. But deep down, you knew that this discomfort was not something to be ignored. It was a call to stop the repetition and take action. With each new failure, with each new mistake, something within you said, "This is going to stop now." You understood that you could not continue in the same cycle, even when it seemed difficult to change. The discomfort you felt was the key to change, and it was through this discomfort that you began to perceive the direction God wanted to show you. The truth is that those who feel the pain of repetition have the strength to break it. You were set apart to interrupt this cycle, not to perpetuate it. God placed within you a vision that is not shared by many, but brings clarity. What bothered you so much was actually a warning from heaven that you should not follow the same path. Even without support, even when it seemed that no one understood, What you felt was real. The discomfort was your spiritual direction. It was the compass that guided you to something greater. God was working in you, even when it seemed difficult to see the way. And even in moments when you doubted, you knew you would not be like the others. You had a greater purpose. Although the journey was lonely, something inside you knew that you would not give up. The cycle that everyone followed, you knew that you would not be the one to maintain it. That was your strength. Even without having all the answers, you were certain that this cycle would stop with you. Your spirit was already preparing to be the key to change. The discomfort was your direction. And when you finally realized this, the true transformation began. God was preparing you to make a difference, not just for yourself, but for everyone around you. Because when the chosen feels this discomfort, they are called to interrupt something that will never be repeated again. For a long time, you believed that you were being left aside. You felt out of place, even within your own home. It seemed that no one understood you, that your way of thinking bothered people, and that your silence was interpreted as arrogance. This feeling of disconnection spread to all aspects of your life. The truth, however, is that what you felt as rejection was not actually rejection. It was protection. God set you apart, not because He saw you as inferior, but because your identity needed to be preserved. You were not pushed away because you were unimportant, but because you needed to be protected from the broken environment around you. God knew that your essence could not be molded by people and environments that were still wounded. You were hidden for a time, not because you were lesser, but because you needed space to grow spiritually. The environment around you could not define you. He preserved you while you prepared for what He had reserved for your life. In the moments when you felt the weight of loneliness, know that it was God protecting you. You felt isolated, but the divine purpose was being drawn in the background. What seemed like abandonment was, in fact, a necessary distancing. He did not want you to get lost in the same pains and mistakes that dominated those around you. Many times you sought comfort in people, but found more misunderstanding. You felt incomplete, out of place, but God was quietly molding you. He was preparing your soul, healing wounds that you didn't even know you had. This separation was a strategy from God to preserve what was being built inside you. The process was difficult but necessary. God knew that for you to become who He called you to be, you needed to be preserved from negative influences. He did not want you to be molded by the wounds of your lineage, but to be healed and strengthened to change everything around you. What seemed like loneliness was, in fact, spiritual care. You were not being rejected. You were being guarded. And when you understand that this separation was not a punishment, but a preservation strategy, you will begin to see how each moment of silence was important for your growth. God did not distance you to make you suffer, but to make you stronger, more resilient, and more prepared. This separation was not for you to feel lesser, but for you to grow towards the divine purpose. When God hides you, He is preserving you. He did not want you to get lost in the difficulties of an environment that was not yet ready to see you shine. He took you out of the chaos so that you could be formed in peace. What you did not understand as rejection was, in fact, God's greatest care. He knew that your journey would require more than anyone around you could offer. And for that reason, He kept you away from influences that could have weakened you. Now, when you look back, you can understand. God preserved you for a greater purpose. Today, you are stronger, more whole, more aligned. The separation was not a mistake. It was the path to your transformation. You are no longer lost. You have been prepared to live what was destined for you, to break barriers, and to change the course of your history. Now, you are ready for what God has for your life. And all that seemed like loneliness now you see as divine protection. You have faced pains that no one around you can understand. You realize that they were not just difficult moments, but moments that shaped you. Every pressure you endured, every challenge that seemed unbearable, was a step in your spiritual construction. And it was not easy, but it was necessary to make you stronger. Your resistance did not come from luck or chance. It was formed within you, throughout a journey where you needed to be molded. God did not choose the most experienced or the most visible. He chose those who had a spiritual structure capable of withstanding the strongest winds without losing their essence. You are not here today by chance. Every rejection, every silence, every phase in which everything seemed stuck served to strengthen your internal structure. God knew that you would not be destroyed by difficulties, but that you would come out of them stronger, more prepared, and with a clearer vision of your mission. You were shaped by these experiences, not defeated by them. Every difficult moment was a silent construction. And even when you did not see it, even when everything seemed to be in tatters, God was forming something within you that no one else would be able to sustain. Your spiritual structure is what supports you now. Do not be fooled. The strength you carry does not come from muscles or appearances. It comes from your spirit. Every time you went through something that seemed unbearable but did not give up, God was strengthening your spirit. Every crisis you overcame, every pain you endured, was a construction for something much greater that you will still live. God did not choose the most visible or the most prepared in human eyes. He chose those who had the resilience to be refined and transformed without losing their essence. You did not just go through difficult moments, you were shaped by them, and that is what makes you unique. Today, when you look back, you see those difficulties in a different light. You no longer see them as a series of defeats, but as training. God did not test you to destroy you, but to build you. What seemed to be an obstacle was merely the forming of a solid foundation upon which your future will be built. That is what makes your journey so unique. You carry an inner strength that was formed first and foremost in silence, in pain, in struggle. You carry something that no one can take away from you because it was forged through experience. God shaped you to endure, and this is the strength that sustains you. Your spiritual structure is the foundation for everything that is to come. It is not something visible, but it is what sustains your walk, your vision, your purpose. No matter what happens in the future, you now have the resilience necessary to face whatever comes, without losing focus on your calling. Your spiritual structure is unshakable. God knew that you would be able to bear all of this. That is why He prepared you with a spiritual structure that does not break, that does not crumble. Even if everything around you falls, the foundation you carry within you will never be destroyed. This inner strength, this spiritual structure, is the key to your success. Today you are stronger, more aware, and more aligned. Your spiritual structure is no longer something you need to seek. It is something you already have, and it will be the foundation upon which your mission will be fulfilled. Nothing can shake you because you have already been strengthened in everything you have faced until now. You looked back and wondered why so many things didn't go right. Relationships that didn't prosper, doors that didn't open, paths that seemed promising and suddenly ended in frustration. However, all of this was part of God's plan. Nothing that broke was by accident. Each interruption had a clear purpose. At the time, it was hard to understand. You felt abandoned, questioned why so much effort had no result. But today, looking back, you begin to realize that everything that went wrong was not failure. It was deliverance. God did not allow you to prosper where your essence would be deformed. He did not let you continue down a path where you could not shine. God acted in your life even when you didn't understand. He cut away what could distance you from your purpose. Relationships that did not add to you, cycles that did not bring growth, dreams that were not aligned with your mission. He made all of these things leave your path. You were not left behind. You were preserved. The doors that did not open were doors of protection. What seemed like rejection was, in fact, divine care. God delivered you from paths where you would have gotten lost. He did not allow you to continue where you should not be. Every moment of frustration was a heavenly action to preserve what was most important, your mission. You can no longer look at what you lost with sadness. Look with gratitude, because what you lost was, in fact, preventing you from receiving what God had prepared. Heaven does not close a door without having a better opening on the other side. And when you stop crying over what didn't work out, you will see that God has been saving you for something greater. The bonds that were interrupted, the expectations that did not materialize, the frustrations you experienced, all of these were part of the purification process that God had to make you go through. You needed to be cleansed of everything that could prevent you from being who you were called to be. And the pain of this process was necessary. When you let go of what no longer serves you, you create space for the new. God knew that you could not carry the burden of the past while carrying the purpose of the future. That's why He acted. Because He knew you were strong enough to endure the pain of loss and turn it into growth. Do not be afraid of the losses you faced anymore. They were not failures. They were opportunities for God to act profoundly in your life. What was broken was precisely what was holding you back, preventing you from flying. Now, with the chains broken, you can finally continue your path without the limitations of the past. Heaven never acts without purpose. What seemed to be a devastating loss was, in reality, a move of protection. And today, as you look to your future, you will see that everything that was interrupted was a preparation for what is to come. God does not take away without giving something greater. You have already gone through the process, and it has made you stronger. Now, you can look back at what is behind you with a smile, because everything that seemed lost was actually gained. God delivered you, and now you are ready to live everything He has prepared for you with a confidence that nothing was in vain. Now that you understand what God was doing, the moment of decision has arrived. He has already done His part, setting you apart, shaping you, and protecting you. But now, the responsibility is yours. The time has come to act, to rise up, and to make a difference. The cycle will only change if you move. The liberation has already happened. You have been spiritually awakened. Your heart has already recognized the mission. Now the only thing missing is your action. It is no longer enough to wait for signs or ask for more confirmation. God has already given you everything you need to move forward. The next step depends exclusively on you. The repetition will only continue if you allow it. You already know what needs to be done. You have heard God's voice in every sign. Heaven has prepared you, but you are the one who will make it happen. Your mission is waiting to be lived, and no one will do it for you. The responsibility is yours, and it can no longer be ignored. God has given you a key, but that key must be used. It opens doors that have been locked for generations. But to use it, you must decide. It is not enough to have the key. You must turn it. What is in your hands now is not just a gift, but a responsibility to open the paths for a new cycle, for a new story. You are the link between the past and the future of your lineage. Your decision to act does not only affect your life, but the lives of everyone around you. Every choice you make from now on will serve as a reference for those who come after you. Your life will become an example, a pillar, that will support the transformation that began in you. You have already understood the call. You have realized that your journey is no longer just about you. What is at stake now is the impact you can create. Your action is a reflection of all the preparation you have gone through. Now, with confidence, it is time to take the first step. Heaven has already opened the door. You just need to walk through it. But there is something you need to know. Your omission also carries weight. If you remain silent, if you hesitate, the cycle will continue. The responsibility to break it is yours. There are no more excuses, and no more time to wait for others to do it for you. Heaven is waiting for you to move, because it is in your movement that transformation becomes a reality. Now, more than ever, you need to rise up with courage, because from now on, each step taken toward the divine purpose will be a milestone in the history of your lineage. The cycle will stop with you, but you need to take that step with faith and confidence in what God has prepared for you. The journey continues, but now you are the protagonist. Heaven has positioned you for this. The future of your family, of your lineage, depends on the decisions you make from now on. The time to act has come, and when you stand up, the cycle will be interrupted, and a new time will begin. You are no longer trapped. You are no longer an extension of the pain that created you. The cycle that formed you will not be the same cycle that will shape those who come after you. You are the difference, the breaking point, the turning point. Everything that God has done in your life up to now has brought you here. And now you can live as a liberated person. The time has come to stop looking back and seeing your story with the same eyes as before. What happened was important, but it does not define who you are today. Heaven has made you free. Your positioning now will create a difference not only in your life, but also in the lives of those around you. The cycle you broke will no longer be the same for others. What God did in you will be reflected throughout your lineage. You have the key to change the course of your family, to interrupt the patterns that repeated endlessly. And that change starts now. It starts with your positioning. You have already been set free. You are no longer the same. The cycle that formed you will not be the same that will form those who come after you. Today, you are a landmark of transformation. And the most incredible thing is that this transformation is not just for you. It is collective. The impact you generate now extends to everyone around you, even if they do not yet realize it. Heaven is on the move, and you are the agent of that change. You are the chosen one, the one who has the power to generate a new beginning for your family, for your lineage. What seemed lost, what seemed broken, will now be used by God to lead you and others into a new time. Heaven moves when you position yourself. Do not look at the challenges ahead with the eyes of someone who has already been defeated. Look with the confidence of someone who knows that liberation has already happened. God has already done his part. Now all you need to do is act. Because when a chosen one positions themselves, the story of an entire lineage changes. Your freedom is not just about you. It is about everyone around you. Your action, your decision to live in alignment with the divine purpose, will resonate for generations. Now you carry a transformative power that is no longer just yours. It belongs to all those who depend on your action. Now it is time to live as a liberated person. Do not let the old shadows affect you anymore. You are free to walk toward your purpose, to fulfill the mission that God has for you. The cycle has been broken. The new begins now. Leave in the comments something you feel you are leaving behind, so that the new can enter. This is part of the process of liberation. declaring what you are willing to release so that you can live what God has prepared for you.